All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to LinkedIn Sales Navigator. We call this the first steps to big results, connect, engage, and convert. Those of you that are new, welcome. This is brought to you by Forward Progress and Social Jack. Forward Progress, 15th year in digital marketing services around building influence for professionals and brands. Social Jack is an all-encompassing academy that has trained and coached over 120,000 people. So we have programs for small companies, large companies, individuals. No matter who you are, we help you build your digital influence. So again, welcome to everybody. My name is Dean Delisle. I'm founder and CEO of Forward Progress, and I created Social Jack in right about 2012. When they predicted that the world was going to come to the end, I'm like, I should build an academy. So anyway, that's what I did, and that is Social Jack. So with that being said, there's a lot of things that we help people as they're building their influence, and social selling is a huge component of that because, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's all about conversion. So we'll cover some of the fundamentals that get us to conversion through engagement, and then we'll cover some specific Navigator items, which are always good to cover. So welcome, Samuel. I just saw him jump in, and Lynn, welcome. I'm just watching names pop in here. Host of the webcast, The Influence Factory, where we interview all kinds of thought leaders. We have people in sales, marketing. We have a huge Forbes contributor tomorrow that I'm excited about. That has a big tap into the influencer market. So if you're interested in that, that's at noon tomorrow. And then also excited about my new book on Amazon called First, The Street Guide to Digital Business Influence. If you type in First into Amazon, you're going to get a bunch of first things. So just type in my name. It's the only book out there. All right, so for us to you, if you think about our commitment, this is in our education and everything, we want you to be found and be known and be the first as an influencer in your network, in your industry. So think about the power in that. If you're the first one that people go, oh, you have to call Nancy, or you should call Stephanie, or you should call Lynn or Marty, so you want to be that first person that people get to, if you will. And we want you using the most relevant digital tools because it helps you become efficient. And unfortunately, it's an overwhelming time where I'm going to guess how many apps, I'm just always curious about this. Type into the questions area, how many apps do you have on your phone, or is it just too many to count? I get so overwhelmed because people go, oh, I use this app, and then I go get it, and then I forget another app, and it's almost like I can only function, and the efficiency starts to fall through the cracks. So type into the questions area, how many apps do you have on your phone that you effectively use? And think about that number. I mean, it's pretty interesting because Navigator has an app and LinkedIn Basics. So there's two right there as part of our sales tools. And then, of course, we like the idea of social media and human relationships. We cannot do it without human relationships. So Marty's saying 10, Christopher's at 20 to 25. Where are the rest of you at? How many apps do you effectively use on your phone? And it's funny because there's things that we take for granted that we just have, right? So so a lot of you are participating in the questions area, so that's good. Engagement is the key to conversion, so good practice here. We also in case you want to ask anything, we'll get to as many questions as we can. We have about a 45 minute window here, and then we're going to jump off and get everybody some cool materials. And we have a cool surprise handout today too. If you do have problem, because of the internet and the cold weather, sometimes the internet gets dicey. You can always click on change your settings from audio to phone call or dial in, so you'll get a number and an access code, and there's a mobile app, another mobile app for GoToWebinar. So if you want to join us that way, there's one more mobile app. Charles says 100 plus. I think I'm with you, Charles. And then I just get overwhelmed and upset, and I actually had to have my daughter. I'm like, how do I search for mobile apps that are actually on my phone? I have an iPhone, so she showed me on the front screen where I can find that. I go, thank goodness, because I am not well. I've seen my buddies where they're well organized and they have 5 folders for all their apps. I'm like, oh, okay, I got to get there. So there you go. As we digress, what is social selling? So it's really the development of relationships as part of the sales process. So a lot of you, like me, I've been selling since the 80s. Wow, now I feel old. But I didn't have all these tools and all these apps, right? So we want to be efficient. So we have LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and I like how Pinterest is still in this definition from Wikipedia. But we have things like Instagram is pretty hot right now, so we use that as part of social selling. We use all kinds of social networks. We'll use YouTube. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways and data. But the idea is not to use all the things as we were talking about, but it's to really get us past the cold call. So I don't know if you're like me, but I grew up in call centers where I literally had to pound the phone. And what's funny is I had a company for many years that built call centers. But it was those scripts and dialing for dollars and things like that. And some of you might still do that. So just through the pain of going through all the rejection and the people that didn't pick up and the voicemails and the chase, I'm like, I was always hungry to learn like CRM, to automate campaigns and to speed up my funnel. And then when social selling came along, I was like, well, there's this part where I can build relationships and have efficient tools. And we're going to talk about LinkedIn Navigator today as part of those. And then at the same time, we're always committed, as I stated in the beginning, to build your business influence. And if you think about it, each and every one of you advise someone around you each and every day, even if it's your children, right? So each and every person around you is influenced by your behavior and what you do, and then we translate that to digital influence. And then we have what we call employee advocacy. Some of you work at larger companies, but even if you're in mid-sized companies or small companies, everyone counts. Every single person counts. And so you really want to make sure that you pay attention to those advocates, right? That are helping your brand become better. And we say humanizing the brand. So think about those terms, become familiar with them, and we have resources, and there's a ton of other good resources besides, the sources we put at the bottom. So if you're committed to any parts of those for yourself or your brand, make sure you stay plugged in or follow the hashtags that are relevant to that. Now, some quick stats you should know. 70% of individuals, right, survey that people trust content by normal people. I like how they say that, than content shared by brands. And so we know this. The brand message is okay, and they pump out content, but really in our influencer programs, if we could get the sales team and or the account management team and or et cetera, in fact, in a recent program, one of my friends, Mary Rodriguez, you might have heard us interview her a few times over the years. She graduated from social media at Microsoft to being head of storytelling, and now she's even got her own class out there. And we partner with her on that. But what she was doing was activating the brand by getting the engineers to tell the story. So when we get into a technical sales or a digital sales environment, there's always sales engineers, and then there's the person that's the front runner, and sometimes other thought leaders will be brought in to add credibility to the sale. And it's important that all of them understand how to do the things, even the simple things that we're talking about today. So enough about stats. We know the evidence is out there. Here's what I like. The sales funnel, we are moving faster. So back in the 80s and 90s in traditional marketing, up top, we were creating awareness, filling that funnel, and then our job was to take them from consideration to intention to eval to buy. Now, some of you have similar steps, maybe different names for them. I went through, I'm actually meeting again with my friends from Sandler today. What is the sales programs that you've been trained in that really resonate with you? Because a lot of times this is what grounds us, right? So Sandler, there's Max Sachs, there's solution selling, there's so many out there. And so spin selling, thanks, Charles. I forgot about that. Oh my gosh. See, that's in my wiring too. And what's funny is I've taken so many of these, I wire them into our courses. And sometimes I don't remember where I learned them. It's an evolution of skills and building those things and those capabilities for ourselves. But our job is to use social media and influencer marketing to drive us into the deal or to be part of the deal before we even get in the conversation. So we want to be the person when they're in this and they're going, you know what, I know who to call. I'm going to call Charles, right, Charles? We want to be that one person, that first person that they call. So real quick, how much time do you spend? I'm going to just throw a poll up here. How much time do you spend in LinkedIn, on LinkedIn each week? Hardly ever, less than a few hours, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, more than 6. So I'll leave this up here for 30 seconds. And there we go. Okay, so we got 58%. You guys are on this. I love it. Cold weather makes you active. 74% voted with 10 seconds left. So this is an important question because I'm all about efficiency, and some of you have even taken some of my time management courses over the year because I'm fanatical about studying that stuff. So let's close this out and you'll see where you're at today. So we have 12%, hardly ever. We have, let's get back to here. We have, let's share that. We have 12% hardly ever, 41% less than a few hours, 29% 2 to 4, and then 18% of you in 6 hours or more. So there's the company today that you're in. So now when we think about why are we even doing this, right? So it's reputation protection. I'm not even going to get into reputation management, but really, I came out of Merrill Lynch. I came out of bank auditing. I was a systems developer and programmer over a number of years at Merrill Lynch and beyond, and then went into marketing. I was always social and a little more sales, so I was drawn to that area. And so I started in compliance because of my background and said, okay, how can we leverage this new stuff? I'm sort of curious, what was the first social network you were ever on? Where's my MySpace people out there? And maybe even some of the early ones. And there was it classreunion.com and some of the old ones, right? So make sure you Google yourself to look at what you got out there because you never know what's going to set that impression. But so when we look at reputation and credibility and then creating visibility out of that, and some of us have to be compliant as well. So we want to do a little bit of cleanup and recon in terms of who we are and where we're at, because we want to generate referrals and new business. At the end of the day, there's my buddy Sam on MySpace. Way to step up on that, Sam. So now let's get to the simplicity and the functions here. So what is LinkedIn? It's nothing more than an event. Some of you, I'm going to an event every night this week. Some of you are my event networking people out there. You know who you are. I see you at events, or I've been with you at events, or I've seen you post about events, right? So when we're networking at an event, it's no different than logging in Navigator, logging into LinkedIn. So we say when you log in, what are you doing? You're building credibility. You're becoming a thought leader, and you're coming out of that event called LinkedIn or this physical event with some appointments, right? So now all of a sudden, oops, sorry, let's get you, I don't know why that did that. Maybe it's the cold weather, but thank you. So when we do go into social media, it's just like going to a live event. And that's all I had, Sam, but thanks for the cue up on that in terms of seeing my screen. So now when we look at this, we're going to meet people, but we can't like swim through like LinkedIn. How many people are on LinkedIn now? Like 600 million. So you can't walk through an event of 600 million and find effective people. So that's why we have Navigator and these other tools. And most of us that are on today, I was looking at your LinkedIn, and a lot of you are active, know the degrees of separation, right? So we want to make sure that we're present in those networks and we're pulling referrals in. So that's why the degrees of separation, you don't need millions of contacts and thousands of contacts to get the one, or to get the one to know you. So think about the numbers on that. It's still a ratio with 387 connections, and this is by LinkedIn, gives you 6.4 million people to have access to by up to 3 degrees, which are all reachable. And our goal with you is to make sure, look at this, I pulled these old screenshots out of the archives. You guys remember when LinkedIn looked like this? I like to be nostalgic if you can't tell. But the idea here is really to be warned against, if you're spending a lot of time on LinkedIn, is your time well spent? So real quick, we have these cheat sheets up on Social Jack, which you can, go up there and log in for free, and you can get all kinds of cheat sheets to tell you certain power moves and in our training, we walk you through these individually. But if you're trying to get 2 appointments a day or 6 appointments a day, the things we reference in a few minutes here are relevant to you getting those appointments. So when you log in for 20 minutes a day, are you generating appointments? Do you generate one appointment or one referral for every 5 minutes of activity? If the answer is no, then you need to stop, think, and value your time. So let's just say your rate based on how much you make is $100 an hour. If you're spending $20, $30, $40, you better get an appointment or a lead. If you were hiring us and you were spending $20, $30, $40, $100, $200, you better believe we're busting our butt to get you a lead, or you're going to fire us. So think about how you're spending your time. And what we do is today, if you go to handouts, you will see in the handouts in the go-to webinar taskbar, and if you don't see it, we'll attach a copy on the email we'll send out to you tomorrow. But there's an ROI calculator. So check this out. I just updated this for you guys. So let's just say that you want 10 appointments a week, and you spend, you're going to do 5 days a week at 20 minutes. And whoever types in what's your deal size, what's your average deal size? Somebody type in a deal size amount in there. Your average deal size, is it 5,000, 50,000, 500,000? I had people on the other day, 2.5 million. They just need like two deals a year and they're golden. What's your average deal size? Shout it out. All right, so we have 25,000. So 25,000, there you go. What's your conversion ratio for appointments? Kevin, what's your conversion ratio? Okay, so it's 20%, right? So, and think about if they're referrals, it's probably a little bit higher. So closing from an initial targeted appointment or qualified appointment, about 20. And your sales cycle, 16 weeks, call it 12 weeks. Okay, so 25,000, 12 weeks, 20%. Most of you know these numbers if you're in sales. So now your new pipeline ads, if you're following, a recipe of intention, you should get 4 new pipeline ads per week, right? If you're going for those 10 appointments, 4 new pipeline ads out of this conversion mechanism, therefore closing an additional $400,000 in new business per year. Now that doesn't stink, right? For 20 minutes a day. And I think I have these numbers set low. So most people are climbing a little bit above these, but we have the numbers set low. So you have a calculator in the downloads. Make sure you download that, play with that, but this should hold some more consciousness. Okay, so let's jump into some Navigator. So if I'm thinking about Navigator, let me just get a sense here. I'm going to ask a quick polling. I want to know who uses Navigator, who doesn't, or how many people we have with us. So do you use Navigator? Let's just see where we're at. We got 100% no so far, 18% yes. 80-20 rule is applicable here. 86% no. Okay. All right, so there you go. It's exactly 80-20. I got to show you this. This rarely happens. Look at this, 80-20. That never adds up. Okay, I digress. So in here, as I think about this, let's think about just the ease of the home page. So in the home page, there's your LinkedIn home page. And if you do have Navigator in the top right, you have the Sales Nav button. And if we go in here and we have Sales Navigator up at the top, we have our search up here, and we can search into what they call leads or accounts. Leads are people, accounts are companies. So some of you dive into organizations. You get tipped off, and Charles, you're in recruiting, so you might get tipped off. And if you're, let's say, pretend you're a tech recruiter and you're looking for, a C-level, C+ programmers, etc. So, in blockchain, you might go for every blockchain organization and start diving using Navigator to hunt inside that organization. So tactically, recruiters are trained, natural born, I'm not going to, I hate to say killers, but hunters and killers, to go into those companies, find those people, and network their way in. So they're usually the best example of people that know how to get to the source of hiring, right? Especially your top producers. So leads are people, and we'll get into search in a minute. You can build lists, so we'll cover that briefly. You can discover recommendations, and then there's an admin section. So you can get into this, and I'm not going to get into the setup of this too much, but I want you to understand there's alerts based on filters that you set. So you can have all kinds of alerts here. So you can say, I want people that I'm flagging as accounts, I want their news, or maybe you're chasing people that are looking for funding, and there's all kinds of alerts you can have here. So in terms of alerts, this is usually the feed that you create based on your settings, which I'll show you in a minute, and your filter. So you get to set your preferences. Now, jump back in. I love this piece. It's like, these are conversations that were started, and based on recent activities, and these are activities that I've initiated. So then I can jump back in and have a conversation for those. And then they have recommended leads of people based on my sales preferences of people that I should contact, and then recommended accounts. So pretty straightforward. It's like if you want people, it'll let you jump back into your people. And this is a reflection too, because then you'll look and you're like, why am I supposed to go to that person? Am I spending my time with the wrong people? So we were doing a little bit of recruiting, and I got some random folks showing up here that I normally wouldn't have in this dashboard. Now, as I look at this, the setup is pretty critical. So if you go to account settings, you'll have some opportunity to not just manage your regular LinkedIn settings, but your profile for how LinkedIn Navigator hunts for you. So let's look at that real quick. So if I go to account settings, and I go down here and I go, here's how I want to be seen in the network. This is my headline. So this is how I'm seen. So as I go through here, I go to geography. And so I said, I do a lot of work in San Diego. I like it because it's warmer than Chicago sometimes. And I do greater Chicago. Those are two big markets. Now I have clients everywhere, even overseas. But these are the two that I want them to serve up because I travel frequently between those two locations. And now DC might become a location for us. But I don't want them all. I'm just like, let's stay focused. I either want them in my backyard, or the next time I do a run to San Diego, I want to have one or two new people. Now, we do a lot in banking. You heard me talk about that. Financial services, insurance, compliant or regulated industries. We also have healthcare, but I don't need that hunted for right now. But I do like tech companies. Tech companies are always looking for sales training and always looking to be ahead of their competition and how they differentiate. I have company sizes that I want them to hunt for me, 500 to 10,000 plus. And I go in here, what are the functions that I want to talk to? People that handle education and HR, biz dev people, and sales people. So there's my sweet spot. And then I want CXOs, VP, director, manager, and senior, right? Patricia, great question. I'll get to that before I stop here. Okay, I love that question. So now I can make my selections here, and based on this selection, what I like about this is they will then dictate who they're going to serve up to me. So I like this, and when I get into searching here in a few minutes, I really like, let's talk about coach real quick, because I think that can help you. If you don't, let's say you don't hire us or you don't come to us for help, you can literally go into Sales Navigator Coach, and they do have some easy things to teach you to set up here. So they'll look at how you've set things up, and they'll give you some easy, quick snapshots of how to get through things. 26 seconds are usually under a minute. Most of these are under 30 to 25 seconds. So if you want to sync to your calendar to the Nav mobile app, if you want to set up sales preferences, there's a coach right in here, and they're more about helping you. So now all of a sudden, you can jump in and watch these videos, and they're going to help you use the software. We're going to help you convert. That's our game. So, but I still want to make you aware of these. Glenn, you're asking me, do you have to use their name or can you use your names? I'm not sure which. Are you talking about for the titles? Can you be more specific on that? And then I'll jump back into there. Okay, so now let's look at this advanced search. It's probably the most, for titles. Yes, let's do that now. So let's do a little bit of hunting. So search for leads. I'm gonna show you how I search for people. Okay, so let's do that. Hold on, just changing a couple things around. Search for leads and accounts. All right. So if I go in here, let's just go to my live screen here. And let's go to my home page. And now let's search for leads. And so I get a clean slate here. Now you see here, apply your sales preferences. I can save some time. So I go here and boom, all my preferences are preloaded. So let's do that. And then on top of this, Glenn asked a great question. What about titles? So I can go into titles, and let's just pretend that I want learning manager, learning leader. I don't want a consultant. I want a head of learning, senior learning specialist, right? So what I do is we build a list. So learning director of learning and development. So let's say that's and you can see up here as I'm building, I'm getting a list of people. And for me, I don't want to hunt too far, so I want people that are first degrees and second degrees. So now I have 68 results. And so now I can go through here, and you'll notice that how extensive the search is. So you can go in here to past lead and account activity. You can go to people that you went to school with if you want to play that card. You can go in here and how long have they been in this position? Are they new, or have they been in there a while? You might have different sales tactics. So we teach different tactics based on how long have they been at that position. If they're new, maybe you have an onboarding process that you can help them out with, et cetera, et cetera. So it depends on what you sell and how you sell, but you want to make sure you do that. How many years of experience? Maybe you do better with people that have very little years of experience in that position or period, or maybe you have people that are, you do really well that are seasoned, so you can make that choice. And then you can go into the company headcount, which is pre-selected based on my how my criteria. And then you can choose between government, public, privately held, partnership, self-employed, etc. And now it's like you can jump into groups. So a lot of you want to get into groups, and you have certain groups you belong to. So if I have my CXO community group or these other groups, and maybe I want to specifically hunt where people might know me better, I could sort of whittle that down even more. And then I'll cover tags in this next section. But you can see how and you can actually search by the content that they're posting. So some of you may not know that. So posted content keywords. keywords. So you can use hashtags down here and things like that. So there's all kinds of cool ways to actually search for people and find. But let's just say these 68 I want to take a look at. So I click my search button and voila. And then I can still dial in on the left-hand side and I can see a little dashboard up here. So I find my 68, 6 have changed jobs, 2 mentioned in the news in the past 30 days, 32 posted on LinkedIn. So listen to this, I know they're active. So I might choose to just play with this 32 because one of the tactics, if you've taken training from us before, just like a networking event, you don't walk up and well, you might, but you shouldn't. You don't walk up to somebody at a networking event and shove your card in their pocket or shove their card into their hand and ask them for theirs and walk away. You have a conversation first. So what you should be doing is finding people that are talking or having conversations, insert yourself into the conversation. And when you do that, remember your degrees of separation, your network sees this and their network sees it. So you're not just talking to Karen, right? So if you go engage with her content, you're not just talking to Karen, you're talking to her whole network. Oh, and by the way, we have shared connections here. So now we get to see who's Karen tied to. And remember, I want to get into this big company. So now all of a sudden, Karen is one of those people that can get me into Livingston International. They have over 1,000 employees in their logistics and supply chain. They might be a good, so I can go to Dr. Bob or Judith or whoever, Tracy, to help me get a little closer. But I'm already, I'm pretty doggone connected to her. So I would tag her. So there's a tag. You see where it says add tag, and I could tag her as a prospect, right? So I have different ones here and I have different types of leads. And I'm just going to do a test right now because I'm not going to really tag her. But now all of a sudden, I apply that tag, and I don't have to just do one, I can do multiple. Or what I could do is if I see that all these people are good for me, and let's say I'm a little bit in a hurry, and when I come back tonight, I'm going to shoot out some emails, I can now add a tag, and I can say all these people are tagged in test. Okay, and so let's apply that, and you'll notice there's a tag, a tag, a tag. Everybody that I had checked is a tag, and anybody I didn't check is not a tag. Now, Glenn, you put in owners, entrepreneurs, and things like that. So if you want owners, you can absolutely select owners. Entrepreneurs, most people don't put that into their profile, but you could test keywords and ask for entrepreneurs or startup in the company name. So you can definitely search by that. So one quick thing is I want to show you a little bit of a hack that I have here as I get into this. So let me get back to here, and let's say this is an amazing search. So we love this search. We absolutely have to have this search. We're going to use it again and again, and this is our new hunting ground, our targeted hunting ground. So I click Save Search, and I go for the webinar today. So I know where this came from. So you name it appropriately. You might say standard selection plus, and then whatever filters we put on here. So 1 and 2 degree, and I might whatever else I added. So I name it appropriately, right? I'm just going to put test in there. And then I click the checkbox. Now you'll see I have different filters for different things, different projects, different pursuits. So now I have that saved. So let me show you what happens now. So let's say I go along, I'm working in a different area, I'm not searching, just here, I'm logging in and I'm like, hey, I want to go back to that. And you'll notice that when I go in here, I still have the same number. But here's one that if I go here and I go, oh, here's some bear targets for Brett. So I go in here and let's do here, New York Story Leaders. Okay, so now as I go in here and I search, these numbers are going to change. These people are either going to be new or they're going to be from the original selection. So when I'm going into these saved, you'll notice my right scouting has 10 new people in it. Well, where are they? I only see one. So this is a little bit of a glitch, but the way they put this button in here for you to see them all, it says view all results. So do you see that? So now all of a sudden I have that and I can view all results and there's all my results. And what you'll get is based on how you set your saved search. So if we go in here and we can set when we get these alerts. So do I want them daily, weekly, monthly, or never? So you notice I go for weekly because on Saturdays I teach a program, time management program for top producers and entrepreneurs and business owners called Hour of Power. And so what I do is on Saturdays, I get all those people coming in and I look at my dashboard and I go, okay, I want these 2 people out of this bucket and these 4 people out of this bucket and these 2 people out of this bucket. I send them to Morgan, who some of you interface with, and then I set my appointments. And now all of a sudden I've got LinkedIn working for me and it's super efficient. And what I'll do is we use HubSpot as a CRM. So we actually have it talking to HubSpot as well. So you can have that integrated as long as you're on the accelerated version. So I'm going to pause for a second because sometimes we do these things fast. But so what resonates with you so far in what I said? What is one thing you're going to take away that you've learned that is super helpful for you? Because I want to make sure that every time you're going to get busy, you're going to leave here, and there's a chance you're not going to remember some things. Even if we give you the recording, you might not have time. So everyone give me one thing, just one thing. Tag and save, I like that. Save my searches, tag prospects by category. Nice, Charles. Where's the rest of you? Looking for Shauna. Searching in tags. Way to go, Glenn. Marlon, Lynn. Let's see, Don. Chris, Blake is in today, and Angela, welcome. So as we look at this, think of things that you can do that are super helpful, right? So one little thing can make that adjustment so your 5 minutes a day truly does yield conversion. Now, I told you a little bit about that. Let's just make sure we're covering everything here. And I showed you the hack. And last but not least, is really building lists. Now, lists are used in a bigger capacity. So in my mind, I build lists because I'm using outside CRM tools and I'm building bigger things and I'm doing more of a marketing piece. But if I'm truly relationship prospecting, I like my save search and my tags. I think they're easy, they're useful, and don't forget, I'm going to go back to this because let's say I'm searching for leads. I can start with my sales preferences and I can go down to my tags and say, you know what, give me my test people. And that's not going to work because I'm sure all my test people didn't fit that criteria. So let's bounce out of this. Yes, leave. Search for leads. I'm going to go to add tags. Here's my test people. And I search. So there's 29 tags in test. These are people that I've flagged. There's Karen, there's Steve, and a lot of the people that we flagged together. So now, yes. And so Glenn's asking, is the conversion worth ROI for Navigator? Glenn, you've been trained by us. Yes, as long as you follow the 20-minute a day program and now you use Navigator, you're going to move faster. You'll be able to move faster and more efficiently. So you'll be able to set up your week for success. You'll pay attention to the alerts. You'll engage and convert. Connect, engage, convert. Remember, that's our process. Okay. Here's our buddy Len. And again, if you're on a record, you can tag. So at the very bottom of education there, you can go on to add a tag and you can add those tags on there. Super easy. So I would say make sure you're doing that. And so what you want to do is make sure, and you can also save to a list. Those of you that are list bound and you like your lists, you can go in here and click on Save Your Custom List. So as we look at this, I've got one for Nancy as we're working on sales together, healthcare scouting list, chief N officer, prospects, and then Padres game I was prospecting for. No, I wasn't scouting for the team. Thank you, though, for thinking of that, because I love scouting and drafting. No, this was an event we were holding in a skybox. So LinkedIn Sales Navigator, tagging and list building leads. Really, really keep it simple. Now, don't forget, one of the best things you can do is make sure that you measure your results. The one cool measurement, as I've always told you about, is the social selling index. So now if you go here and you click on you where you went to settings and the coach, you see social selling index, you click on that and voila. You automatically get to see where you rank and where you are establishing your professional brand, finding the right people, engaging with insights, and building relationships. Super easy. So pay attention to this bottom one the most. LinkedIn looks and determines based on who you're establishing trust with decision makers. Are you networking up into decision maker positions on a regular basis? And are you building relationships and having conversations, getting a response? And then they're watching your conversion techniques. So it's a very easy, cool dashboard. It's free as part of Navigator. But even if you don't have Navigator yet, you can Google social selling index and you can click on it and get your score. How about that? So now what are you going to do differently? You should say, Dean, I'm going to look at my score and make sure my score is getting better each and every day. So as we do this, I promise you a couple of extras besides the download in the ROI calculator today. Socialjack.com. If you go there, you can start for free and you can start getting courses. What courses do we have? Here's the course modules. Social network intro course, right? So if you're really new and you want to do that, we have the LinkedIn getting started course, right? How to use LinkedIn, build the ultimate profile, building a solid network. Then we get into Social Jack power networking, defining your ideal network, named accounts. Some of you want to chase into those big named accounts. We love doing that. We love helping you. How to build a referral machine, sales training course. And then we have Navigator courses. And then we also have advanced personal branding for sales leaders. So telling your story, building your online presence, attracting an audience so you wake up with referrals and all that cool stuff, right? And then conversion. So if you want, you go there, you get access for free. And then also, real quick, some of you don't know, we have a 90 days to influence program. This means if you want us to build it, do it for you, and even set appointments, we have a 90-day program. And then also, I think some of you asked us about this last week. We just activated salesjack.net. What is that, Dean? Salesjack.net is for those of you that really don't have the budget to hire us, but you want to jump in and check things out. So salesjack.net starts with a video. I explain it here. And it's a money back guarantee. And we have a deal going on now for the next 11 hours for $97, salesjack.net. If you get this today, you actually get a coach to help score your profile and help optimize your profile included. That doesn't even pay for the coach. We're just giving you a coach. So if you want to do that, it's at salesjack.net. Plus you get all the classes I just flashed in front of you. You get the influencer class, you get all that. Okay? How about that? Thank you. Some of you are saying, that's cool, Dean. Thank you so much. Super quick. tell us where you can use more support, and then I'll give you your assignments to carry on from here. And then I just want to make sure you get your thing. So I have a polling question up. Do you need sales training or coaching, social media services, content development, appointment setting services, or the 90-day influence program? Just click on the one that makes the most sense for you. And we can fit all kinds of budgets. We have small coaching programs, long-term coaching programs, conversion programs. If you need content developed, press releases written, that includes all that stuff and all those fun things. And then one of us will contact you to follow up just to make sure. But and again, it doesn't hurt to talk, right? It's 2020 coming up. Did you hit your goals for Q4, or can you use a little support? What's the cost of sale? Are you spending 6 hours, a week, a day on LinkedIn, or 4 hours or 2 hours and not generating anything? That's not cool. So you're burning up your own time, which is money. So let's work smart this year. Okay, let's jump into some assignments. So while you're clicking, and I got some questions coming in, keep asking questions. I got about 5 minutes left. Please, if you do nothing else from today, fix your profiles. Get to a point where making sure that you look good. And one of the best things to do for yourself is just write this down. Google your name. Google your name and your company name, your name and your industry. So if you're Jane Smith and you're in mortgage in Chicago, you'll find a better chance of finding yourself. But make sure you look a couple pages deep and find all the things that are relevant to you so that you can help make the best digital impression possible. Okay, and then as you go in on this and you have new items, new skills, things you've developed, certifications, load it up, put it out there, right? And then most importantly, once you are looking good, then be ready for those conversations and be smart. If Navigator makes sense, sign up for it and go for the conversion. Okay, so what questions do we have? I got a couple minutes for questions, and then unfortunately I got to scoot across. I have an appointment that I set on LinkedIn, and someone flew into town and said, hey, while I'm in town, I want to visit with you. And so I'm going to visit with them on Michigan Avenue here. No questions. Okay, so those of you that didn't give me the one thing, Marty's going to do Save Search. What are you going to take with you? And please, if you've been in our classes before, you know absolutely that we ask you to teach someone else, your thought leaders and your influencers. That's what we do. We help others. So share this with somebody. Do you at least promise to do that? Give me a do you promise to share what you learned today with somebody that you care about, that you are also helping them with their success? Give me a yes. Please give me a yes. I want to know we're all in this together. Thanks, Nancy. Thanks, Marty. Thanks, Blake. I got 3 of you in. Come on, we're thought leaders, we're influencers. Just give me a yes in the questions area. Just type that in there. All right, there's the rest of you coming in. Awesome. See, that's what thought leaders do. They help others. All right, well, hopefully you found this valuable, and hopefully we'll see you. And please follow our social channels and connect with me. If you see a referral that you want, just ask. So give me a good connection on LinkedIn. You can find me on Twitter pretty regularly. Social Jack is on all 3 channels, and so is Forward Progress. Forward Progress, digital marketing, Social Jack, education and training on being an influencer and a social seller and everything else. All right, everybody, with that being said, please stay warm out there, and we'll get these recordings and things to you in the next 24 hours. And stay warm, and we'll see you real soon online, building your influence and generating new sales. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you online. Take care.